Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The
us.
grammar.
知吃思诗都很难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, and today I have a friend joining us actually from online, Georgia Massett. Hello, Georgia. Very happy to have you on Takeaway Chinese.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me. It's so great to be here.
Currently, there is this one special traveling style that's been really, really popular. You know, now it's the day and age that everyone's super busy and you want to pack things together. You want to do maybe 5 things at one go and make sure it's cost effective in terms of both time and energy. And which is why a lot of young people here in China are opting for the special forces style traveling, or 特种兵旅游, is going to be the topic of today's Takeaway Chinese. So for our dear listeners, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. 一想到我们要去杭州了，就好开心呀！
我也是，可惜假期时间有点短。
放心，我已经做好了高效又省钱的攻略。
所有景点和小吃都能体验到吗？
当然了，你这几天好好养精蓄锐。See, do you see this dialogue being the kind of dialogue that you will probably have with one of your friends?
Absolutely. I think I would be the very organized friend that plans things ahead and decides for the others what to do and where to eat. So I totally see this happening with my friends.
I would love to travel with you. I am the unorganized kind, and if you can do everything, I promise I would not complain for even a little bit, and I will praise you the whole journey. We can be totally good, traveling partners.
This would be so great because sometimes I feel like I'm tiring my friends too much. So
that's the thing. You have to find the proper right person to travel together. In Chinese, we say 搭子.
搭子.
Yes, 搭子 is kind of like a company, someone you do certain things with. And in the future, maybe we can have an episode about that as well. But for this one, it's about 特种兵旅游. So without further ado, let's take a look at the language side of the conversation before we talk about this very fun and interesting new traveling style. So for the first sentence, 一想到我们要去杭州了，就好开心呀。
So just thinking about us going to Hangzhou makes me so happy.
So here, 一 something something, 就, that's actually a sentence structure. Have you ever heard of it?
I actually heard of it. I remember it quite well because I used it a lot. So if I remember correctly, it's at the beginning of the phrase you use 一 to say as soon as something, and then at the beginning of the other phrase 就, this makes me so happy. For example, I would use it as 一我回家就睡觉了.
Almost got it. You have to
almost?
say, yes, you have to say 我一回家就睡觉了.
我一回家就睡觉了.
Yes, because the subject of the sentence have to come first. But if you find it a little bit hard to remember, you can also say 一回家我就睡觉了.
Okay, so I can also don't say 我.
You don't have to say 我. You can put 我 at the second half of the sentence or as the second event, because we know the 依旧 structure has 2 events. You're basically saying after the happening of the first event, there's the happening of the second event. You have to put the subject at the beginning of the sentence, or you can use it at after the 就. So as for your example, 一回家我就睡觉了, or 我一回家就睡觉了. But 一我回家就睡觉了 does not work. Well,
Okay.
when I say
perfect.
does not work, I mean people will understand you, but that's not correct, perfect Chinese.
Of course, and we need to speak good grammar, so it's really important. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. That's the thing. You put the subject in the beginning of the sentence. And here we have 一想到我们要去杭州了就好开心呀. And 想到
Just thinking.
Yes, 想到想 we know is think, and 到 actually means arrive. So 想到 is like when the thought arrives to my head, and then
Okay, so
something
the
else
thought
happens.
has arrived
Yeah.
to my head, and it has completed this action.
Yes. So 想到我们
Us,
Yes, 我们 means us or we 要去
we are going to
We're going to do something or something is going to happen. 杭州
Hangzhou, the city.
Yes, it's the city. It's actually the provincial capital of Zhejiang, and it's also the city that has hosted the 2023 Asian Games. So it's been a really, really popular traveling destination. It's quite amazing. Actually, if you have time, I would strongly encourage you to visit Hangzhou. So
I would love to.
Great. 一想到我们要去杭州了, the moment the idea that we're going to Hangzhou arrives to my head, 就好开心呀.
I am immediately very happy.
Yes. So 就 is another part of the 依旧 structure. 好 very 开心 happy. 好开心呀 is the word you put at the end of the sentence to, give it a little bit color, a little bit stress the tone.
This is so interesting.
And then we have the second sentence. 我也是，可惜假期时间有点短。
Me too. I'm very excited, but we only have such a short period of free time.
我也是。
I am too.
Exactly that. 我 is I. 也 means also or to, and 是 I am too. 可惜
Unfortunately,
Can you make a sentence with 可惜?
可惜现在我的身体不太好.
That is a great example, but hopefully that's not the case for you.
It's kind of.
Oh, I'm sorry. 可惜, yes, that's how you use it correctly. 可惜 can be translated as also what a pity. For example,
what a pity.
Yeah, for example, if we made a plan to meet together and you tell me, I'm not feeling well, maybe we have to cancel it, I would say 太可惜了. What a pity. And then we have the word 假期.
Vacation.
Vacation.
Free time, yes.
I love that. 假 carries the meaning of off work time, off school time, and 期 is a period of time. So 假期. We also have, for example, 学期.
学期.
学期 actually means a semester or a school term.
Okay.
So again, 期 is the period of time, whereas 学 is study. So the study period, that
the
would be a
study
semester.
period.
Yeah.
It's so logic. I love this about Chinese language.
Thank you. I love it too. I think when you actually have a relatively solid foundation of the Chinese language, of certain characters, of some words, you would realize that actually when you put familiar characters together, they form this word. And even though you have never seen the word before, you can kind of guess the meaning of it.
Exactly. This is what I've always thought, and it has really helped me sometimes. If I didn't know a word, I could understand what it was about. It's so logic.
I'm very glad. And then we have the word 时间.
Time.
Time, it's an easy one. 有点儿. 有点儿 actually means a little bit.
A little bit.
Yes, and short is 短. So when you use 有点 something, you're kind of saying it's a bit too something. So
Okay.
yes, if I say 这个今天点的东西有点多, I ordered a little too much today. So it carries that tiny little connotation of a little bit negative, a little too something. That's how you use 有点. Yes.
Yes. So in this case, a little too short time.
Yes. And then 放心，我已经做好了高效又省钱的攻略。
Don't worry. I have already prepared a compact and money-saving travel plan.
放心
Don't worry.
Don't worry. This is actually very useful. For example, if for the scenario that you're taking a test and you're worrying about whether or not you can pass it, I would say 放心，你没问题。
Oh.
Definitely, you'll be fine. You're great. You've prepared a
No
lot.
worries.
Yes, no worries at all. So 放心，我
I
已经
already
做好了
already done, completed the action of doing.
Exactly. It's also quite common. You can sometimes say 饭已经做好了. I finished making the meal. So finished doing something. 高效.
Compact.
高效 can be compact, but I think it can also be translated as high efficiency. So very efficient. 高 we know is high, and 效stands for 效率. 效率 is efficiency. So 高效 means high in efficiency. It's very efficient. I can say Georgia 是一个很高效的人.
Oh, thank you so much. This is a great word to know. George is a very efficient person.
Yes, and I believe that's the case. So 高效, you can use it to describe a person. You can use it to describe a plan.
Okay,
Both words.
this is very good word to know. Useful.
高效 and 又.
Yo, it's also used between two words that have the same meaning and says and.
Yes, perfect. 省钱.
Money saving, to save money.
Yes, and actually 省 means to save and 钱 means money. Again, see, it's easy. So for those of you who are complaining about the hardship when you experience when learning Chinese, just, bite the bullet, try a little bit harder. You would see how great it is when you grasp the basic knowledge about the Chinese language.
Exactly. It's so rewarding.
Yes. And then we have 的, which is basically apostrophe S, and 攻略.
Exactly. Travel plan.
Travel plan, or actually any kind of plan. This word is originated from game playing, so video games. When you play video games, sometimes you need a 攻略. It's kind of like a cheating way of doing certain things, or a tactic, or a strategy. For example, if you're playing this game and this maze is so complicated, and you can go look for some 攻略 to find the right way to get out of the maze, or maybe when you're fighting against this mini boss in this game and it's really hard for you, can't win the battle, and with some 攻略 you would know which kind of combo of acts you can use to beat up this boss. That's the idea of 攻略. But now the word 攻略 is used for a lot of different scenarios. For example, in this case, we say 旅游攻略. It's a travel plan. It tells you which hotels to stay, what kind of transportation is more convenient in certain cities, what are some travel destinations you should visit, and that's 旅游攻略, a travel plan. Or sometimes when you do certain things in the office, for example, you want to go for a business trip, and of course you have to file a submission, or you have to file a plan about traveling, and maybe it involves a lot of refunding of money. The company would refund you the money, and sometimes we say 出差攻略. So it means that you know which department to go to, which person to ask certain questions. That is also a 攻略. So 攻略 is kind of like a little experience that people have, and they would put them in the form of a report or in certain document, helping you to do things easier.
攻略. This is so interesting. I had no idea the meaning behind the word.
Yeah, actually, when you're in school, for example, 选课攻略, for some schools and universities, it's hard to get certain classes if you have to sign up for certain very popular classes. A 选课攻略 would be the kind of 攻略, the kind of little tricks helping you to do such things. So 攻略 is actually very useful, a detailed guidance or a tactic.
This is so interesting.
I'm glad you're taking some Chinese away here. And then we have the sentence, 所有景点和小吃都能体验到吗?
Will we be able to check out all the must-see sites and try the snacks? Most important part.
Yes. So 所有.
All. For everything.
The entirety of something. 景点.
Attractions, tourist attractions or attractions in general.
Yes. So 景 means scenic or the scene. 点 is a spot. So literally, 景点 is a scenic spot. It's a spot that's worth visiting.
Again, so logic.
And then 和.
And.
小吃.
Little snack, something to eat.
Yeah, like you said, 小 is little or small. 吃 is actually eat. So it's snacks. Little, eat little things that can be eaten.
小吃.
都.
Every. everything, every.
Yeah, 都 can be translated as every or all or both, something like that. 能
to can, to can.
able to, yes. 体验
the experience.
Yes, and actually 体验 can be used both as a noun and as a verb. You can enjoy the experience. 我很享受这个体验，体验很好。The experience is quite good.
Was very good.
Yes, you can also say 我想体验一下。
I want to try.
I want to try it. I want to experience it. So both noun and verb. 体验到 means would be able to complete the action of it, and 么 is put at the end of the sentence, yes, to, make the sentence a question. 当然了，你这几天好好养精蓄锐。
Yes, of course. Have a good rest and stir up energy for these days.
Yes, 当然了。
Yes, of course.
And also you can omit the 了 sometimes. You can just say 当然, of course, means the same thing. 你
You
这几天
this couple of days, these days.
好好
Very good.
Are you familiar with the Chinese 儿化音?
Not really.
The 儿化音 is something that is stipulated in the Chinese language for sure. It does not really matter where you're from, but actually in real life, most occasions, people from the northern part of the country would use 儿化音 much, much more often, especially people from Beijing. So 好好, it's a really Beijing kind of accent kind of thing. For people from the southern part of the country, they might just say 好好, so good, good.
Oh.
Yes. So here,
this
好
is
好,
interesting.
yeah, it's quite the accent or even sometimes dialect kind of situation. And again, in Takeaway Chinese, we talk about these kind of accent and dialect a little bit because when you actually come to China and start using the language, you cannot really decide the person you're talking to is using what kind of Chinese. Maybe this person has a strong accent. Maybe this person is perfect in pronunciation. You never know. That is why on Takeaway Chinese, we tend to introduce all the different kind of situations. And also, I personally find it quite fun.
It's quite fun and it sounds really good. Now I'm ready for my Beijing trip.
Yes, you're ready. 好好 is a very Beijing thing. And then we have the idiom 养精蓄锐.
To store up energy and to get well, to be well.
Exactly. Again, this is a Chinese idiom. I'm sure you're already familiar with the Chinese idiom as a phenomenon. That is, most occasions, there are 4 characters. And they form up this relatively sophisticated saying. And here, 养 means to cultivate something, and 蓄 means to save up something.
Oh.
And 精 and 锐basically carries the meaning of energy and being able to do things quick and to be sharp in action. So 养精蓄锐, you can kind of understand it at the very beginning. This idiom is used to describe, for example, a military. For a troop, if a troop is rest well and have saved up all the energy and they would be able to act fast to perform well. So now we use the word 养精蓄锐 to describe the kind of situation that you want someone to get some really good rest so they can perform well in the later whatever they need to be performed well.
I had never met this idiom before, but I found them so fascinating.
Yeah, you can use it in the future then. 养精蓄锐.
Yes, I will.
Great.
养精蓄锐. Can I use it even in colloquial terms with, for example, I don't know there, but here with the changes of temperature, everyone is getting a little sick. And can I say to my friends, don't do too much, don't stress too much, 养精蓄锐, because the next days will be very hard. We have some studies to do, and you need to be well.
That's actually perfect. And when you were talking about it's cold, it's not that pleasant in weather, I was almost ready to tell you cannot use it to just say rest. But see, you used it perfectly well because 养精蓄锐 is definitely used to tell someone one that you should rest well for the big thing happening a bit later. So your scenario is perfect. You can totally tell your friend to 养精蓄锐 and, don't push it so far.
Perfect. I will, of course, use it as soon as possible.
Great. All right. I think it's time for us to have a little bit practice of the conversation. And I think you are going to be part A because you are the organized, plan-making kind of person.
Perfect. 一想到我们要去杭州了，就好开心呀。
我也是，可惜假期时间有点短。
放心，我已经做好了高效又省钱的攻略。
所有景点和小吃都能体验到吗？
当然了，你这之前好好养精蓄锐。
Perfect, and you even nailed the 儿化音. That's amazing, Georgia. You've done a really good job.
I am ready. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Hongli, and Georgia. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts via email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's talk about the special forces style traveling. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, joined by Georgia Massette from online. She's currently in France and has been learning Chinese for quite a while, and I think she's doing a great job doing the show with us. And hopefully, if you like her, please let me know in the comment area so that I can invite her back to our show. And for today's conversation, we're talking about special force style traveling. I was wondering, are you familiar with this kind of traveling and what do you think about it? 特种兵旅游。
特种兵旅游 I have never heard about it, but I'm really familiar without knowing the specific words about this style of traveling. Unfortunately, I haven't been to China yet, but I will use it as a special style travel plan to visit Beijing, of course. But I have used it throughout my travels with my friends as a broke college student, so I can totally relate to this.
Yeah, because at the very beginning, I think one specific trip was described as 特种兵旅游. I'm not really sure if you're familiar with the 五岳, the 5 great mountains here in China. Again, China is a vast country, so there are a lot of different kind of titles and terms granted to a lot of different destinations. They have special title and honorary names and such. And we have the 五岳, the 5 mountains. Yes, the 5 mountains are all magnificent and they're in different parts of the country, but it's been kind of like a traditional belief that if you want to visit the great mountains in China, you have to cover the 五岳. And what happened was that this one student actually visited all 5 mountains. He climbed all 5 mountains at one Chinese holiday, I think within 7 days or even just 5 days. And people were shocked because that was really tough. And that's when people started to call this style of traveling 特种兵旅游 because he was as energetic and brave and resilient as special forces. And that's how the special force style traveling or 特种兵旅游 started to be quite a trendy word on the Chinese internet. But I was wondering, for such kind of travel, aren't you sometimes feeling that you're only, hurrying from one place to another without actually experiencing or enjoying it? 会不会觉得特种兵旅游太忙着赶路了，没有时间好好享受路上的风景呢？
Well, I think so. I think it's an experience that you can do as a college student, not only because money is tight, but also because you are really young. So you can actually have the strength. As the student you just mentioned, I wouldn't have the strength to climb the 5 mountains. But you can really squeeze in as much as you can, and in a couple of days, because the time is limited, money is limited. But I think that once you get older, this kind of travels is no longer possible. Also because, of course, money is not limited anymore, so it's possible to have a more relaxed vacation. But I think there are some controversy towards this type of tourism that can be associated to mass tourism or trying to squeeze in as much as possible. But I think that as a college student that has done this, it's important, and at the same time it creates so many memories, but it's really tiring, and it's really tiring.
I get it, but I'm not that young and energetic anymore. I do not want to hit the spots. I want the experience. I want to relax. I want to feel that I'm not rushed to different places. But definitely for young people, especially young students who are not that, I would say, deep in their pockets, they can totally make their own choices. And 特种兵旅游, something really popular. And of course, for those who want to hit as many Chinese cities as possible, it's still maybe their choice to go for the 特种兵旅游. So I guess I would say 是否选择特种兵旅游是因人而异的. Whether or not to choose the special force style traveling vary with each individual. 因人而异.
因人而异.
Yes, 因人 means to depend on different person. 而
yes.
And then 异 different. So it's different for different people. 因人而异.
因人而异. Yes, I think as well that 特种兵旅游 is not for everyone. It's tiring and it requires a lot of energy, but sometimes it's good to have both. A relaxing vacation and 特种兵旅游 whenever you don't have the time, but still you want to see everything.
Yes, so 因人而异. And that maybe is the takeaway here. Yes. And that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Georgia Massette online. For more episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cgtn.com and go to the column podcast. You can also listen to the show and read the script there. Find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Just search for Takeaway Chinese. Don't forget to leave your questions, comments, and ratings. 感谢收听，我们下次再见。
再见。